Good morning, everybody. My name is Hitoshi Ujiie. I'm so disappointed that I cannot be at the conference because we had some visa issues. So I'm trying to video record my presentations, and I will try to do as best as I can. And the topic I'm trying to talk about is transformation of idea from textile print surface design to the new field of surface imaging through the advancement of the digital printing technologies. Textiles, as you see that the print textile design, we do pattern makings. Majority of the things what we do is the surface imagings. So that's I'm gonna talk about a lot today, and then lead it into more diverse imagings. So outline today is principle of the inkjet technologies, one, and number two is the history of the imaging and the printing technology, and then we talk about the state of art of the printing industry, and then we go technology, and then I'll show you around some of the textile mills, what they do with this technology as a case study, and then we analyze what we really saw from this or see from this, and then we get into the outcome and then a bit of the future. So first of all, inkjet printing technologies. It is a non-impact printing, meaning that there is no impact on the substrate, that the print heads ejects the one complete droplets of the inks and put it onto the substrate. And then the size is a millionth of the liter. We call it picoliters, and they all are controlled by the computer, as you know. And then it is the four-color process of CMYK, right? Most fundamental ones. Although that today printers are, especially textiles, we have the orange, blue, or some other hi-fi colors to increase the color gamut. So basically, those colors, limited colors, creates the entire colors producible in the printing mechanisms. Therefore, that the color gamut is somehow problems sometimes. It's too narrow, right? Too small. Then, and third point is this: that there are many technologies in the inkjet. For example, drop-on-demand, which is thermal drop-on-demand and piezo drop-on-demand. Also, the continuous flow inkjet. But the point of the inkjet is this: that it ejects the precise volume of the ink in a precise timing and precise locations. This concept is really going into the more or less this engineering field of material deposition or deposition technology. However, all the concept is here. It is really precise technologies. So let's take a look at the histories. I listed up so many histories, but at first, 1878, principle of the inkjet technology was introduced by Lord Rayleigh, mathematician in the UK. He came up with the equations of the surface tensions and diameter of the nozzles, and then how the droplet is formed, which was presented by the London Mathematical Society back then, right? Then 60s, not so much going on until, and then the mid 70s, there's one benchmark for textiles. For the first time that the carpet printing was done in digitally. First Milliken in the US, and then Zimmer of the Austria. Those are very coarse mechanisms that drop size is only, say, less than 10 or 12 per inch. Inch is 2.5 centimeters, right? So it's a very, very coarse, because carpet does not need to have the higher resolutions. Then went into 80s. 80s the time that the desktop publishing was become popular. That all the Macintosh or the PC, they do all the designing on the screens instead of analog processes. So that's the time it was influence was going into the graphic end industry, right? However, up until the late 80s, there's no input or the output affordable device. So that's happened in the late 80s, that advancement of the charged coupled device was used become very inexpensive. Not really, but inexpensive than before. That's gonna lead it into the flatbed scanning technology versus the drum. And then also Iris continuous flow inkjet printer was introduced by the Iris Graphics, therefore that the surface quality of the prints are more acceptable as a proofing than when they did before with the liquid toner technology, basically laser copiers. So that's the first time that they are starting to see whole workflow of the digital printings. And in the 90s, everybody thought that that's the future. So analog producers, screen printer, photo labs, sign printers are trying to move to the digital. And then all the 90s are more or less the transformations, internet, right? Also the Windows 95, and Epson came up with the piezo heads, affordable piezo heads. And then by the time that the late 90s, that we have a large wide format printers for papers, and that's basically that's mechanism was converted to the textiles or another industrial applications with the different type of inks or colorations. So 2000, what we are thinking, what everybody industry was thinking, was that they want to have some sorts of the archival solutions, fastness of the inks. So they are trying to start to develop those industrial type of printers. In 2003, yes, textiles, that production printer was first introduced at the textile machinery exhibit at Birmingham. And in 2005, in a photographic market, even in at the end user level, that because of the Epson inks, Ultra Chrome K3 systems, right, becomes the compatible to the silver halide technology, that all the photography was converted 100% digital, I would say. And then 2011, last year, I was at the another ITOMA, International Textile Machinery Show. This time it was Barcelona. Unlike 2007, that was in Munich. To this one, we saw lots of robust, serious, high-speed production printers. Like more printers, it seems to me, more printers than the potential buyers. Now let's talk about the state of art of textile printing industries. Worldwide, textile printing is $100 billion, analog and digital combined together, and which was divided into soft signage is 33%, right? Environmental graphics, and then industrial textile is 67%, which means the apparel textiles and home furnishing textiles and technical textiles. But when you look at the next number here, right, signage has 45% of penetration, and industrial textile is only 1%, right? And also worldwide printing gross 20 plus billion meters per year. This is the industrial textiles, which is interiors and at the fashions and technical textiles, not the banner inside of the business. And it's increased to 1% because of the acceleration of the fashion cycle and the continuous growth of the world populations. So technology after 2003, as I said, ITOMA 2003, that was the time again production printer was introduced, right? And then basically technology become really stable or reliable, and assurance of printing is increased, right? Speed is increased also, and then that the it's really digital become a reality. Used to be we are not so sure. For example, everybody in the early 2000s, this printer called Mimaki printers, that was basically a paper printer, or the printing engine is, and then they changed the handling system to accommodate the textiles roll to roll. So many places they started from this. I call it plotter type of printer, right? And those are really evolved to become like those industrial type of printers that is now. I'm sorry. So in terms of high-speed printers, we have so many now. I mean, Mona Lisa system is Robustelli Italian company, Epson and Fortex Italian ink company. Nassenger is all Japanese, Konica Minolta. Lenoir is done by the Reggiani machine in Italy. MS is also Italy. So that many Italian company and Japanese technology is really into this at the moment. And then all the high-speed machine is somewhere from the $250,000 to the $500,000 up euros, right? And then, so in terms of speed, at the moment, I would say that the second quarter of the 2012, about up to the 600 square meters per hour of the speed, which roughly 300 linear meters per hour of the speed, right? Which is quite fast, right? Meaning that 5 meters per minute. Is that right? So next chart was showing that the from 2003 to now, how the one of the Mona Lisa printing system was evolved. When you look at that, 80% of annual increase of the speed from this 2003. That's amazing, to be honest. And the MS came up with this printer for the Rio. They call it MS Rio because they built the machine for the one of the customer at the Rio in Brazil. And then printing speed is 90 linear meters per minute if you run fast, right? Which I have a video I like to show you. So this is the video. I'm gonna just turn the volume down a little. I'm gonna cut it. So that's the company. They produce this printer, and basically each compartment has the print heads. So there is a 7 compartment as you see, and then print heads does not move. Fabric moves and the print heads are stationary. So these are the feeding in fabrics, right? This side. So now fabric is feeding in. And going in this. So now starting to print onto the sticky belt, cyan, magenta, yellow, black I believe, and some other hi-fi colors, so that this is the speed they are printing. So now it shows here the speed of the current speed I believe. So after that it's going to drying stage just to dry up the inks. It's not fixing, just drying, and after that fabric is steamed and then washed, right? It's quite amazing fast machine. It's about 3 million euros. Now you see here 31 meters per minute, and I'm gonna just fast forward this to see how fast. At the end they are printing quite fast here. So the taking up here. Anyway, this printer can print onto the 70 meters per hour, which is quite amazing. Now, so this is another chart to show you installment numbers of the printers. Like here, Mimaki TX12, those are the prototype, like I showed it to you first. Like from top engine was the basically paper printer. They changed the handling system. It has only 2,000 units worldwide to sold, versus these are the number for the middle production printer, which is not much, about a couple hundreds. And when you take a look at this number here, those are the basically printers utilized for the soft signage, so that you could see the difference in the numbers. So today's reality, the soft signage is 45% of digital penetrations versus the pure textiles is only 1. Why is that? So I'm going to take a look at the take a look at some of the case studies. I took students or myself going to Italy a lot, because the Como region become the most important. All the new printers are built, they are testing in these regions, because they are the most digitally friendly, I would say, and that they are really believe in this technology, so that the most of the installment is in this area. So it's known as a high-end apparel prints, and the integration of conventional digital. And sometimes that the prototype printer, when I was in at the early 2000s, they're printing on a printer for 6,000 meters. Those are some of the conventional way of those, but those are getting less and less. So fashion company like Prada, Cavalli, all the major fashion designer, they say that if you cannot do digital, we're not gonna have a job for you. That's what they're saying to the Italian companies now, printers. Interesting. US is opposite, sort of. Nomega is a dyer changed to the printers, right? And the Serie de Stamperia, that's a commission printer, has a lot of MS printers, right? Here, this is the capping station and how the printer comes in. There's a 1 line of 4 color to the 3 line of 24 colors. I mean, depends upon the customer's need, they can build. One of the reasons why those printer become fast is the printer heads. The Kyocera heads introduced in 2008 created a very good advancement of the industry. Like now, among others like the Ricoh heads, Seiko heads, or the Epson heads, Kyocera heads has so many clients. Basically using the printer, like La Meccanica, to Homeward to China, Lugiani Italy, and the MS Italy. Many people uses these heads because it's such a great performance heads for the robust printings. Lugiani is another company, Italian company, that these heads, what they do is that the one pass printings, so that sometimes when you do printing, as much as dozens of movement to create one set of line, but this one is just one time. Therefore, the feeding mechanism has to be precise, and the Lugiani is one of the company perfected it. So when I saw the printout in at the Itoma 2011 last year, the printout was superb. I mean, it's perfect printings that everybody was impressed. So Luca Stamperia had the old Lugiani printer. This is called Dream printer, introduced in the 2003. This was only 1.5 meters per minute of the speed, versus now, I mean, like as much as 30, right? And then interesting thing is that the printer, and then at the this part is the screen printings, digital and the conventional synchronized together, because conventional can do whites, pigments, whites, puffs, pigments, or the metallic, and all sorts of special printings, which digital still cannot. Maber is another company that he was the pioneer too, that he saw all the printable, and he got this continuous flow inkjet printer called the Osiris ISIS printer, developed by the initially Netherlands, and then he was installing it, but Osiris was fold their business and they bought by the Indian company, and now he decided he gave up this printer, and the printer is in India. I don't know the development, but that was back then. I mean, around late 2000. This printer was also the some sorts of controversial, although it is only 144 dpi, meaning coarse, but it can print 30 meters per minute of the speed, and then by comparison with the rotary screen printed or the Osiris printed to digitally printed. This printer retains far better details. And another one is Creation Baumann, Swiss company. They use the several prototype printer to do the interior banners. Best Berlin, like you see here, that this is one of the examples that all those big screens and table was replaced by those printers. They are the signage printer, flag and banners, but this is one of the printer that how the digital become sort of sustainable. And also one of the interesting thing is that the Como, there is the finishing operations. This company factory does only the textile finishings, so steaming, washing, and then putting the finishing on, and then stretching, tentling, all the process only for digital. That's the one of the problem in the US. We don't have this. Therefore, that everybody is struggling at the moment. Like this model, I see the perfectly same as the kimono industry of Kyoto, where I grown up, because all the shop are specialized for finishings, pre-treatment, everything. That Como has the kind of the background. That's why that that's one of the reasons why that this digital printing is advancing, or people are going towards that directions. And other printing mills, that some of Mirorio was claiming that they are increasing 5% of the inkjet productions, although the worldwide is 1%. So we see lots of advancement in the Western Europe, especially Como regions area. So research of the 2011 research, that, as I said, that the speed is becoming closer to the conventional, and then industry is getting healthier, and the break-even point from the analog to digital used to be 500 meters. That changed to 5,000. Also, there's a penetration inks with another speed issues, but we believe that the printing cost will be less than $1 in the future in Italy, and ink cost is gonna be 2/3 of the price to probably half the price. That's what we are predicting, which is a good thing. The more demand, the cheaper the price become. So the US, what's happened is that in the US, all the major mills are basically closed, so that those has all the preparation to the finishing equipment. And then who got into digital and doing the digital is the engravers who make the screens. Therefore, that there are some sorts of the lack of the equipment in terms of pre-treatment, post-treatment, as well as lack of knowledge, as much as the printer knows the fabrics. That's the several problems we have. Also, used to be in 2000 to 2008, the big company DuPont or the Reggiani, Huntsman, they are really pushing the market by introducing, demonstrating, showroom, trade shows, and become a driving factor. However, they decided pull off the market. Like for example, DuPont is not going to introduce any of their systems, but they just sell the inks. Reggiani is not pushing as much as before in the US market. So we don't have, US doesn't have enough machine or exposure at the moment. That's kind of slow down the industry to me. So silk productions, Eastern Silk Mill has the 2 DuPont machine, and then for example, this machine is interesting. Now they have all the traditional equipments, like this is model for Italy, same model as Italy, and then when they print 10 color design, it takes them 1 day. However, digital, anything 2 hours, although color matching is the key. Also, this is very interesting. Now, Spoon Flower, there's a company that does this almost sampling with the pigment inks, so that the ink fastness, colors are not as good as the totally different from the dye print, and then meaning black become gray and the color is not bright enough. But they offer $18 to $32 per yard of the printing, which is quite cheap, so that it is good for the craft people or the students. Then they are doing very well in their business. However, that the New York, if you do the dye applications, market is still, if it's short run, market is still very high in terms of price, that $85 to $120 per yard. So let's analyze this, right? So engineering, we have upgraded printing speed, and then defining quality. It's doing very well. What about the high quality, low cost printing solutions? I think that would be good, because we don't have the low cost printing solutions, because that will makes the independent textile designer, artist, and craft person very active for this. All right, so that's one thing we need. Design. Let's take a look at the design aesthetics, new designs, and the styles. That's what we see a lot in Italy. A new workflow called the alternative working, manufacturings. We see some. So first, I'm going to talk about design aesthetics, what that means, right? So I categorize three. One is high definition, new design, and the shift from novelty to subtlety. High definition is about this, that first of all, when you make a design on a computer, if the design is color separatable, you have to separate them. That makes the crisp, clear imagings than the 24-bit imagings, like photography way of printing patterns. So then if you have a tonal, right, first one is this is conventional printing, rasterization, right? The screen mesh, like this is about the screen mesh you use, right? So finest dot size is 500 and 570 microns. That's the finest dots. Versus the digital, gray tone was converted to the as much as 720 LPI, which convert to the 50 to 35 micron. So you see that how the detail can capture digitally. So that's called high definition imagings. And new design styles can be categorized in photographic, unlimited use of color, diminutive, digital effect, and engineered. So photographics, right? Some of the students' work, or the jewelry was photographed in a dark room and become a scarf. Tulips, creation Bauman, this is early piece. And then some of the styloforms, right? Taken picture and become a virtual fruits. I had the company called Ion Design in the late 90s. This is one of the digital design we did and printed on cloth back then. And then this became one of the permanent collection at Cooper Hewitt National Museums in New York City. So video stills put together become a drapery fabrics from Ion Design to Moschino, some of the realistic photographic patterns on the dress. Christian Dior, this looks like fake leather scarf, basically. It's a trompe-l'oeil. Scarf to look like fabric, scarf to look like leather. And funny face, I took lots of pictures of those and then put together as a wall coverings. And then this one is distributed by the Flavor Paper in Brooklyn. And I just heard that this is gonna be one of the permanent collections at Brooklyn museums in design sections as a wallpaper. Then unlimited use of colors. Takashi Murakami does the Louis Vuitton patterns, has the more than 30 colors on it. This is, I see that some are printed digitally, some are printed conventionally in Italy, depending upon the product requirements. Also that the Christian Lacroix patchwork or the quilts of the patterns, right? Many patterns to become a one scarf. Moschino has color chart and the diminutive fine lines and dots. Jakob Schrapper for the creation Bauman. It's a window, it's basically interior banners, right? So you see that how fine all the dots are, right? Shadings, that's like what digital can do. Some of my pieces at the competition called the Cooper Hewitt Triennial Design Triennial Design Contest, I believe. That I was chosen one of the 100 designers among other disciplines, and I presented as a textiles. and those are the inkjet printed textiles, and that's become all of them become the permanent collections at the museums, at the Cooper Hewitt National Museum in New York. So this one I'm printing onto non-wovens, and then I use the fine lines as fine as possible, meaning that I'm trying to push the limit of the inkjet, right? Okay, this one printed onto the silk, and then all the fine letterings I was putting in the background. That's also the demonstrating how fine we can go with the digital. And the digital effect. Helena Britz, she teaches at the Glasgow. She's the head of the program at the Glasgow School of Design. And this, if you know printings, that this fine light color onto dark ground with the precise mathematical lines, this is almost impossible by conventional, but digital can do. So representing nice lampshades. Maharam is the American company, contract furnishing company, probably one of the most innovative one, and they create the wallpaper. They started to do the wallpaper collections by the contemporary artists. So this one is Douglas Gordon, and then Maharam has the contemporary artist collection of the wallpaper, digitally printed. Though company is highly driven by the more constructed textiles based woven and knit. And Forever Paper, again, this is Brooklyn. This is my piece here as a wallpaper, and those are the Heather Ujiie, my wife. She does a textile designing too. So we both representing at the through the Forever Paper of Brooklyn, New York. Then engineered, right? There used to be textile patterns has to have a repeat. However, that the digital get rid of those repeat limitations. So you can make a pattern, basically fit it onto the a space you choose, right? So that's called engineered. So that's the Creation Bauman, and this is Christian Lacroix. They do the by the Jakob Schrapper, engineered patterns, or the engineered jeans by Kerry Isaac. She was my partner at Ion Design. And Heather Ujiie, she does the some installation, a little bit more artistic work rather than the commercial side. But although this one exhibited at the gallery, but this was a backdrop of some of the display in one of the design houses, probably, I believe, right? So Cry Wolf, that's her name, that's the title. Cry Wolf, yes, that's the title of this. And also we see a shift from novelty to subtlety. For example, used to be digital look was good, right? Novel, right? Nobody has seen, so that was okay. But now, like starting to see that the they don't like that. Like for example, Caro Montero, who I respect the most in terms of design and then at the technology. He's one of the owner of the Montero Textiles in Italy, Como. That he believes that his design does not look like digital, but has to be hands-on touch, hands-on look. But he wants to have some print, has to have some digital printing quality, meaning that the area that only digital can do. Like for example here, fine lines, number of colors and shadings. This is one of the examples that the only digital can do, but the hands-on conventional printing is so difficult. Then materialities, we have to, the more we do, we have to see the material too. Like when you talk about the this is a signage printers, environmental signs for the trade show. But even now, those people like Marco Alberas Fabric Images, which is also one of the biggest, one of the most important printing house in Chicago, Japan. I mean, Chicago, U.S. They use the lots of those brands, and he really put so much energy into the choice of fabrics, because that changes the mood of the designs. Some of the example here. Jakob Schrapper, for the larger field collections, all the those tiny miler is also printed. It's hard to see. And here for the Vivian Westwood, these are the films. In between there's a metal, so that there's some sorts of metallic films, and then film surface was printed, which it's very hard to see for this. Again, Jakob Schrapper for the Vivian Westwood. So some of the students' work printed onto the non-wovens and front and backs, and you see the back was reflecting. It's a mirror reflecting to the back of the fabrics, like you see here, and a cut. These students they put all the yarns on a table, and then they apply the liquid polyester. Some polymer has a polyester rosin in it, and then after he bound all the yarns together to become fabrics, and then he transfer print with the disperse dye. Cyanotype prints, students again, and added on to all the rosins to become a rigid wall treatment, wall panels basically, surface. And also she printed onto the rugs as a rug, floor rugs. Jacquard printing, jacquard weave and the printing on top. This is our students too. Again, same concept, jacquard and print. And this piece was printed, and then all handwork was on. That this is Heather Ujie's latest piece. Like you see here, that all the time-consuming embellishment going on, but that gives the work more edge to it. And then let's take a look at the business and workflow now. So textile printing workflow, this was the old one, design development, and then go to strike off, go to actually conventional strike off, and then printing. So digital printing was first utilized for this, to do the digital strike off, so that you don't need to make a screen to make a strike off. And then if it's right, go to this, because we don't have enough production printings. But now it's all starting to become straight lined, streamlined, especially in Italy, right? That's the goal, I think. So at the same time that we have a couple of the new way of thinking. One is that neo-cottage industry model. This is a concept, basically my concept, and I've been telling this for a long time. That if the designer or practitioner has the digital printer in their studio, all of a sudden he or she become the brand or manufacturers. It's more than the designers to design for something for somebody, or design to ask somebody to print. Right? Digital printing itself is a really conglomerates of computer technologies. It has a lots of components to it. At the same time that in 1984, Alan Kay came up with this concept of the Dynabox. The box has the dynamic and creative media with many outcomes and processes, rather than programmable production computer. So Dynabox is a concept of the computer. He was promoting the idea. And in fact, right now we have that, like iPod, iPhone, that's become like that. But back then, that was the idea. And then he called this as a metamedia. Same thing that the digital printing to me is one of metamedia that practitioner can control the system and the processes to create many different processes and outcomes. So, creative outcomes with the crafted controls. So you have to switch the mind that all right, I'm going to design and I'm going to have somebody to print. No, you have to know everything with the printer, because even the printing, color managing, all that, there are lots of explorations you can do in that. And also China Express, some company says they can produce $3 plus fabric and shippings. That's a very good price, right? So you can outsource, right? However, we see communication is one of the biggest problem at the moment. So all of those, what we need is that the low and high quality printing solutions. It would be nice to have the less than $1,000, $10,000 printers, large format, with the software included. That's what I'm intending to all the machine manufacturers these days. And also you can do personalizations. I mean, those are some of the personalization back in the 90s. I see in that some of them are bagged of Gutman, some of the department store, or some pajamas and all that. And also the mass customizations. One of the company in Philadelphia called Adaptive Textiles does this, that you can bring your picture of your house. We can redraw it, put it into your neighbors as a tour. Right? That's an interesting idea. Corny, but interesting. So, outcome of this basically is that we need to investigate outside of traditional textile printing industry, right? Desktop versus the digital, right? One is, although become a paperless, but the printing used in that desktop industry is value added. And photographer, no longer photographer. They are the multifunctional digital media users, producers. They do videos, they do prints, they take pictures, they have to put the webs, I mean, and then the multimedia, some sorts of the package. I mean, that's what photography become. They are the 100% converted from analog to digital. Also, when you see the soft signage, it's a project-based or product-based versus the yardage-based. And also there's a trend called transdisciplinary trend, which go beyond the existing traditional disciplines, right? Digital printing technology emphasizes also interaction of the ink and the substrate, so that if you change the cartridges in a way, you can print onto the porous to non-porous substrates, right? Hard and soft. And then also textile printings, right? If you know it, digital textile printing is one of the most difficult non-impact printing systems. And also the advancement of the technology and new business models increase opportunity in printing and fabrication of the non-traditional surfaces, and also new design products with industrial printing solutions. So of all those, do we have to say designer and practitioner in textile printing as a textile designer? Now, this is an area that I really feel that now that we call ourselves, I mean, as a textile person, myself too, or the imaging person, that surface imagings and design. So my definition of surface imagings is that it provides the imagery for various physical form using the variety of digital printing technologies, including direct surface printing to porous, non-porous, to the subtractions, fabrications, lasers, or the additive as a material deposition as a 3D. This field is a transdisciplinary that it does not belong to any of the field, but traditional, like it's not a graphic design, it's not fashion design, it's not textiles, it's not products, but it is a surface imaging and design. That's the new thinking I'm starting to see. Also, that the digital printing industry, when you look at it, one of the largest problem is that the lack of understanding and communication between the machine manufacturers, printing operations, end users, and there's a lot of gap all over. And also, design, engineering, business components in the industry was not properly integrated. Therefore, whatever new things happens, they tends to lateral fit to old system and create a big problems right now. Surface imaging will emphasize new concept and approaches towards the new development of this discrepancies or problems. Surface imaging does not adhere to traditional boundary of concentrated designs. Like you see here, we have $800 billion of the industry for these printings, right? So, like handle of the escalator to glass surface, to the ceramics tile, wallpapers, outside tiles, surface, wood, and some of the students' work, by the way. All the places you can put the patterns depending upon the different techniques. Glass surface, right? But again, that the woods. What the labor green Acer? That's the British 100% electronic car, and designer Ella Doran is wrapping the pattern of the car as a promotional pieces. products as a toy or laser cut for mica to the lampshades. So we could do so many things with this concept, right? And I believe that this is the future of our imaging industries. PVC tent to the velvet fabrics, plates, papers, to say that the luxurious camping. So what we can do, first of all, the image, analog digital surface imagings, contained or continuous, patterns or the single image, drawing, paintings, raster vector imagings, photo imagings, all the imaging can be done with this technologies. One, direct printings, porous, non-porous by the UV, latex, sublimation, aqueous inks, and also that the material deposition or the fabrication, relief surface 3D modelings can be done by the metal composite functional materials, or the burning or cutting by the laser printings, right? So the possibility could be enormous. So those are the printers, industrial printers, necessary. And then one last thing is that one of the company in the UK called the Surface View is started to do this similar business model to have archives copied and printed so that by the customer's needs. Right. So into the future needs more research. Penetration of colors, especially textiles, is important because inkjet tends to become the topical and needs more color gamut. Would not be nice to have a universal ink or specialty printings, because inkjet is still direct printings. There's no material depositions. And speed, and again gap between them would be nice to be resolved, right? So I started the Philadelphia University 2000 as a director of Center for Excellence of Digital Inkjet Printing for Textiles, and then that time all the manufacturer, because it was new technology, manufacturer says that ours are the best without any reasons. So I decided, all right, I'm gonna have a center to really tell the opinion in neutral positions. So we do the design, engineering, marketing, research, and the educational events, and then printing service aside from that. So now that concept, we're gonna change it to the surface imagings. We're working on it, and then we're trying to come up with the MS in the surface imagings. 2014 as early as, or maybe 2015, right? The same thing, but the malls do it in imaging in general. So those are the equipment we have, and then all the research we have done, and the educational events, and then inkjet printing books, digital printing of textiles. I published through the Woodhead Publishing in the UK. Those are the list of the contributors for the book, and still this book published in the mid 2000, but it is the kind of one of the important still books for especially engineering side of the inkjet. Okay, anyway, I thank you very much for all of you to listen to my presentations, and if you have any questions, I believe you will have some instruction to compile the questions and then send it to me by email later. That's my understanding, but please follow what the organizer says about. Anyway, yeah, I thank you very much.